Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Big Apple Hockey. This is Marc's angry review, as I just called it. I've calmed down significantly since last night, and I gotta tell you, it's still something that's kind of burning on me. But as I've gotten further and further away from last night, I've kind of calmed down about some things, which is good to do whenever you're trying your best to be impartial on all these things. But I'll get started with that. My name, of course, Marc Williams. Follow me at Big Apple Hockey, and hopefully getting more from not just that, just more hockey news from all of us, Anthony and Philk. But there is a lot to go over for the New York Rangers 7-4 loss last night to the Pittsburgh Penguins. And, you know, this series is going to have a long-lasting memory for fans of both teams, because it already started with controversy in a triple overtime game. Those things are looming large over this entire series. So it's just going to be It just leaves an unpleasant taste in your mouth, even if you're a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, you're up 2-1 in this series. Just the fact that you end up losing a goaltender in game one, that should upset you. But I can understand that. I was walking around work last night saying just scream, but you know what? That's why you take some time to get out of that. Everest actually put up a comment saying we need a post-game show tonight. The problem is, good night at the bar. Big shout out to Patrick Nemeth, only responsible for 2 goals against last night, but he didn't hurt Igor or Georgie. Well, more on them in a little bit, because actually, I did not have the note on here that Igor was not himself last night, but let's break it all down, guys. And where else to start? Controversy in the opening minutes on the Brock McGinn goal. And as I heard about the play that the net got knocked off, and again, I'm a bartender, I work, so I'm walking around. I don't know what the exact play is. We're going to break it down right here and go over it for a second. So here we got the goals coming up, and you're going to see it come around. McGinn throws it at the net. It goes in where the net would have been, and the net comes off. Now, they rule it no goal on the ice. That is always important, because you got to go with definitive proof about a rule, and definitive proof on whether or not there's a goal scored or not. That all comes into play because I came into play on the Hedl goal. And a lot of people still say that goal should have counted. Me, one of them. I know I sound like a bitch. Well, shut up, Bitchburg, because you guys get every single call. But that's a good goal. It's a good goal. By the rules, and it's going to come back into play in the second period, too. That's what the funny part is. But that ends up being a good goal. And, it sucks, but whatever. Rangers then get the first playoff goal from Kaapo Kakko, tie the game. And, man, that was nice. He roofed that in there. But, look, the officiating has been piss poor this entire series. But, again, poor play and poor officiating led to 2 power play goals by Jeff Carter and Evan Rodriguez. Now, just to get something very clear, there were penalties that the Rangers took, and the Rangers should have been fortunate that they got out of there with only 2 minors, because Braun, I think that was an interference call, but so that was one. But then the high sticking call on Jeff Zucker, that could have been worse. That could have ended up being a 4-minute. I was waiting to see a 4 or a 5 going up there. But apparently, I guess he couldn't bite his lip and get some blood out. So, Rangers fall behind 4-1. I mean, Evan Rodriguez gets that lucky bounce off the backboards and ends up putting it behind Shesterkin. Igor wasn't himself. That's just to say the least. I don't know how to pinpoint exactly where the problem was. I don't exactly fault him on any of the goals either, but there seemed to be a little bit. He was just off. Best way to say it. He was just off. So going to Georgiev, and this is, by the way, this is what a lot of coaches will do, especially in the NHL. You got to end up going to your backup, and it's a wake up call to the rest of the team. Guys, you're messing up, and now your goalie's on the bench. So they did that, and the Rangers showed signs of life, and they would go on to outshoot Pittsburgh. What the hell is spend outshoot? Okay, so even I can mess up in typos. But they would show signs in the second period. I think I was trying to say end outshoot, but they outshoot the Penguins 17-7. They get goals from Vetrano and Panarin to close it to within 4-3. That's within a minute and 2 seconds. And then, typical, Rangers take another penalty, and they go on. Pittsburgh goes on the power play. At the moment in this game, Pittsburgh is up 3-0 on power plays. I repeat over and over again, if you're constantly, and by the way, the game ends with the Rangers having 3 consecutive power plays that they don't cash in on. So it's sort of like the officials just turning a blind eye and then trying to make it even late, because that is not going to work. Penguins are not infallible, and anybody watching that game could have seen lots of things. So, but anyway, Penguins go on the power play. Chris Letang is pressed by Kevin Rooney, and Rooney forces the turnover, goes to the net, puck gets up in the air. Andrew Kopp bats it into the net as Letang is pulling the net off its moorings. You know what this is reminiscent of? Yankee fans or Red Sox fans, whoever. Do you remember when A-Rod was going to get tagged out by Bronson Arroyo and he tried to slap the ball out of his hands? Yeah, that's what it was like. And by the way, here is video proof of it, or actually pictures. I could actually go to the entire video of Letang pulling the net off its moorings. And that wasn't momentum going in there. He's got both hands on there, both hands on the side of the net. It is such look, even if you want to say it's a heads up play, that's the reason why the rule's in place, that you can't knock the net off the way it is now, the way it was in the first period when Brock McGinn scored. But hey, you know what? Patrick Nemeth didn't injure the goalie, as Mikey said. So it's there. And the Rangers in this series, 2 power play goals by Fox and I forgot who the other one was momentarily. I think it's Ryan Strome. And they got 2 shorthanded goals by Kreider and Andrew Kopp. So, you could say that's a positive for the Rangers. They got 2 shorthanded goals, but you don't want to be playing that game against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Not ever, especially not against Sidney Crosby. But once the game was tied and I capitalized all this, there's no excuses. Now you have a brand new game. They come out in the third period, and they even had 3 power plays after the game was tied. Again, suddenly Pittsburgh couldn't do anything right in the eyes of the refs. So somebody explain that one to me. But Georgiev, I got to give him credit. He was brilliant with everything he did in the 2 periods. But he wasn't set on the Denton Heinen goal. And I have no idea what he was thinking, because his left pad was off the ice completely. I can't even figure out exactly how to describe it for everybody that's listening at all. By the way, thank you for everybody that's joining me right now. But he had like the pad up, and of course he's off his angle, as he will tend to do, and Heine sneaks the puck by him. That's the difference in the game. I think there was about 8 minutes remaining. All that being said, I mean, the Rangers came out, they tied the game, they showed signs of life. That's what we wanted to see. That's what fans want to see. That's what that's what Gerard Gallant wanted to see. Now, recapping the stories of the series, obviously poor officiating, inconsistent play by the Rangers, and that Hedl disallowed goal is just looming over this entire series. If the Rangers come back to win the series, it's still going to loom over the series because that could have been one, if not, you can even argue 2 games because it was a triple overtime affair that it's there. But the Penguins find themselves in the same position they found themselves in in the first round last year. They were up 2-1 over the New York Islanders, and then they played okay in game 4. The Island, I think, if I recall correctly, Ilya Sorokin had a shutout. Then they lose in overtime against the Islanders in game 5, and then were a no-show in game 6. So there's still plenty of games and plenty of hockey that needs to be played in this series. So just Ranger fans, we're going to come back off the ledge on this one. And now I'm going to go to your comments. Oh, and this is just, it was, yeah. Hey, Evereston. Yeah, I was actually gave you the shout out about that. Yeah, Trouba hasn't been his best. He's been running around a little bit too much. I don't know about our goalies being overrated because one of them is going to win the Vezina. That's not really overrated. Anyway, but Cora, you got this one right. They fell in the Pittsburgh game, and that is always a bad thing. You know what? But if Nemeth might have to play the next game if Lindgren isn't available anyway. Pardon me for 1 second, everybody. I'm just gonna mute. Allergies. Everyone gets them, including Penguins fans, in case if you're watching me. Anyway, but Nemeth, you know, if Philk was here, he'd be going crazy over Patrick Nemeth, and just he needs to go. That's what he needs. The playoffs are a different beast. Playoffs are a different beast entirely. I think you're supposed to say entirely. When it comes to the NHL reviews, NHL has their favorites, and yes, they would love to see the series go 7. I agree with that 100%. And by the way, once again, Ranger fans, could be much worse. Could be the Florida Panthers. Rangers came back in their game. The Florida Panthers led 1-0. So, and I picked Florida to win that series running away in 5 because I believed in them. Looks like I need to go back on that one. Yep. Jalen, it'd be better if I won last night. I agree with you a little bit, but on the other hand, with Braun, I think experience plays into a factor, and also, look, that penalty wasn't that great in the first period, but after that, he was fine. He does have an assist so far in this series as well. Playing 4 games in 3 days, yeah. Well, that would be for Nemeth more than And Strome takes just so many bad penalties. You know what? And I think you're right about this one. But on the other hand, I'm not sure exactly how much you're going to really blame it on Igor. He kind of batted the puck on the Carter goal. It went back into Carter, back through his legs. And as he tried to close up his legs, that's actually what propelled the puck into the net. So I'm not sure exactly if that's the problem. That being said, Georgiev, I know everybody's going to look at the stat line and go, Georgiev was amazing. He was all right. There wasn't anything really spectacular Georgiev did. And then the Heinen goal. The Heinen goal was just terrible. I can't say that enough. You can't let up a goal from that angle and the way he did it. And even the number one person that could tell you that is Alexander Georgiev. So we got that one. Core, take it easy. Thank you very much. Have a great show. This loss reminded me of the 2007 Rangers versus Sabres. Very young, upstart team, not much experience, but is playing very hard and will not die. Yes, I agree with you a lot. That series, by the way, that series was a real good series. I think a lot of Ranger fans don't think it is, but it really is. And that was where the Rangers lost the first 2 games against the Buffalo Sabres in very convincing fashion. And then wins game 3 and 4 wins at home. And I believe it was Marty Straka that scored the go-ahead goal in game 5 to make it 1-0. And then, of course, our GM had to break our hearts. 7.7 seconds remaining. Drury and Zelepukin. I will never, ever like 7.7 seconds, and 7 is my lucky number. Getting Nemeth out of the lineup. Yep. And Granny, thank you very much on that one. Denisa, the one thing I get hesitant about with that is just experience, but you know what? Roll the dice. There you go. I think it's got to be better than what you got, and what you got right now just isn't good. Bolton Canes are tied at 2. Yeah. By the way, let's check that score on the Bolts and the Canes. We go back to NHL.com. Yep, still tied at 2 at the end of the second. Bruins will have a power play going on in. And just to give, again, let's give a perspective on that, how quickly a playoff series could change. The Canes dominated in Carolina, and they're about to go back even. And the same thing happened to them last year versus the Nashville Predators. And of course, because I always forget to say it, everybody like, share, and subscribe. We have, again, we had a whole library of stuff. We're growing every single day, and it's because of viewers like you, and also we're all putting in hard work. Me, Anthony, Philk, everybody. But Bergeron, high stick. By the way, I got to hand AZ this point. He texted me today to say that Georgiev almost has a different level of confidence with different defense pairings on there, and he doesn't have that confidence when he's got Nemeth on there. For that, I have to say this, though, for Georgiev. Shut up. Stop the puck. You're not exactly the greatest ever. Because, again, we'll bring up that 4th goal. We're going to do that right now. I'm going to put it back into the stream, but go get that for you guys. Because, again, if you look at the pad, it's just for all of us that played the game for years, you just don't even know what he was trying to do. And hold on, and let's pause it. Okay. Because if it sounds like I'm knocking the guy, well, I am. But on the other hand, let's look at where he is on this play. So coming on in. Now, Malka takes the dish right here. He's going to come off the post. He's not square to the shooter. And just, what is that? Just what is I know he was trying to take away the left side of the net, but I mean, I don't see many goalies do that. It's seemingly ever, and on any level. And what you do right there is he's dropping the left pad, he's opening up the left post and the top shelf. There's an endless 5-hole. I mean, if I got a goalie in here and you guys think I'm wrong, go right ahead. Tell me I'm wrong. By the way, I have no problem ever admitting when I'm wrong, and I've done it in every single relationship I've ever been in. So it's just but what was that? What was that? And Nemeth killed this. Oh, I know we're killing Patrick Nemeth, but let's be honest, there's a lot of blame to go around today. I will say this right now. The one thing you got to look at as a positive thing, Gerard Gallant pushed the buttons and got it all back to even. And the Rangers showing, I think it's more impressive. This team didn't just lay down at 4-1 at the end of the first period with 40 minutes remaining. They came right back out in the second period, played well, tied the game. Andrew Kopp, by the way, becomes the third New York Ranger to score 3 goals in the opening 3 games of a playoff series. That was in the trivia question last night. Chris Kreider, Brian Boyle. Ooh, not Dan Boyle. And now Andrew Kopp. And Kopp has done it 2 at even strength and 1 on shorthanded. So that's plenty of reasons to have signs of life. All right. Yeah. Well, you know what? Guys play themselves out of the lineups all the time, guys. It happens. And guys play themselves into the lineups. Keep in mind, Doug Litster and Alexander Karpatsev didn't play a lot for the 94 Rangers. And Doug Litster got more time. And so did Karpatsev because of the Jeff Bukaboom suspension in Game 6. And those guys, Doug Litster, huge 94 finals. So lots of that stuff like that could happen. Georgiev plays well, but Nemeth and Schneider are getting pinched. Yep. They got to. And Schneider getting his pocket picked yesterday, that didn't help matters either. But I still believe you're going to get more out of Brandon Schneider than you will out of Patrick Nemeth. But with Patrick Nemeth has been our whipping boy for a while. There's definitely other reasons like that. DP, you are right on 110% right. I don't think he's going to play Schneider. One reason why is because, he's not going to play Jones and Schneider. Again, you're asking a lot out of 2 rookie defensemen. If as soon as there's not an R next to one of them, that'll be fine. Maybe that's Jones next year. We'll still have the R, but don't think he goes with 2 rookies. But I agree with you. At least Jones can skate and shoot with the puck. Justin Braun should be cut. I don't know about that, but I wouldn't rule it out either. Yeah, I mean, but you also don't want to mess up too much in the room. Now, Philk has been working a lot lately. That's been what the hard part is, and he's just he's been trying to catch up with a lot of things. He works. I think it's 1:30 to 10, and he might have his hours changing soon. Philk is very much part of all this. Don't worry about that. But that's what the great part is about having good guys that are ready to step in and help out. I'm sure if Anthony had some thoughts, he would have thrown on a show right now. Yes, everything bad about this team came up in the second period. However, the first period, I mean, second period, yeah. Second period, all the good stuff. So, well, he's getting outperformed by a third string goalie in this series. But again, the Vezina is going to go to him. He put up record numbers. I could point out Henrik's numbers to start his playoff career. The Devils abused him 6-0, and I think 2 straight games they beat them 6-0. And by the time Game 4 came around and the Devils finished the sweep, that game was a little bit better. I think that was actually my last shift at ESPN Zone, if I recall correctly. But yeah, look, he still deserves the Vezina. Look, is he taking a whipping right now? Yeah, and last night is bad, but let's see how he responds. Henrik Lundqvist was one of the best goalies of all time after he got pulled. Only the last year against the Penguins is a problem. And again, the Rangers, they got to go out and they got to win Game 4. Very simple. Okay, every team has some degree. Yeah, well, I don't know if every team's got the degree that the Rangers seem to have. So it's just how that's going to go. I'm going to skip right ahead to this one. Mott is getting closer. I'm still feeling okay about the series 4-5, but I'm going to go back to Salvador's comment right here, which is losing Barclay Goodrow and part of your identity like that. And by the way, Tyler Mott looked outstanding as a New York Ranger, and he's exactly what this team needs. Hopefully he can press it and come back in. But you know what? You also, I believe he's an unrestricted free agent, so they don't want to possibly compromise his health as he's about to get a new contract. Yeah, Georgiev was good, but he gave up a softie. But look, everybody gives up soft goals. I understand that. It's just that that's Georgiev's MO. I used to have a friend of mine that would give up just an incredibly soft goal, and just the entire bench would slouch, but he would stop breakaways. And again, when you get the point where you get the soft goal against or something like that, that's where it affects the bench. That's where it's like, all right, take for instance, if it was the Rangers that scored that goal, now the Penguins are starting to think we had a 4-1 lead and it's gone. Well, both teams erased deficits in this series so far, but the Penguins just were able to get the game winners both times. Leo, how are you doing? I'm gonna jump right ahead to yours. Yeah, I really like what I've seen out of Kakko. I thought he's been great, and he should have a goal and an assist in this series. Toronto, but it's I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm a pro Kakko guy. Everybody knows this, and it's going to be. That's another thing. That's an all rookie line. That's the kid line, and they've been one of the best. They've been, if not the best line in this series for the Rangers. So Igor mostly had bad luck. Yeah. By the way, the second Evan Rodriguez goal. By the way, if I recall correctly, there was a writer that's had him as the under the radar player to watch. So it's one of those things. It's just there were bad bounces. I would say the second and the third goal, you could probably pit on him. That's about it on Igor. But yeah, I agree with you on that one. There were a lot of veteran presence on there, but I think what they're referring to is Brendan Dubinsky, Nigel Dawes, Ryan Callahan. Still, Henrik Lundqvist was young. There's a lot, but there was still a lot of youth on that team. Dan Girardi was in his first season. Marc Staal was it his first season. That I had to go through all the. Oh wait, Marc Staal was in was not debuted yet. That was Dan Girardi's first season. Staal would come in the 07-08 season and score a game winner versus the New Jersey Devils. Sorry about sometimes when I'm off on stuff like that, guys, because I'm doing it by memory. All right, yeah, those would be great guys if they were playing. Matador, 100%. Artemi Panarin, and you could see that in that goal. He sniped it short side on Domingue, and Domingue was just completely defeated. No, Braun isn't cut out for a top pairing role, but he shouldn't have been on the reason why he shouldn't be there anyway is because of the Lindgren injury. And Lindgren's been playing injured for a while. That's my hunch. Definitely since March, and he's been fighting through it. So that's why it's sort of like, McAvoy out with COVID. We're still doing I'm just going to let my opinions just sit right there. Would I bring up Jones or Lundqvist? I like both players. No. The reason why, again, I'm going back to this is where you still need the veterans. This is where you still. I think that's a little bit more of a panic move. That's more save it for like a game, an elimination game, maybe where you got no faith in anything. Take for instance, is sort of the way John Tortorella used Chris Kreider in 2013. He didn't play him that much, and then in Game 4, he threw him on the top line, and he ends up getting the game winner. So here's another one. Yes. It's also good to have you. Yeah, I agree with you on. I do agree with you on this one, Denise. It's better to just have guys that can play right now and get them the experience, and then kind of goes on for there. Yes, I agree. I want to see what Jones can do. Jones played very well when he played up here, and it's not that I don't trust him. It's just you go with that. That's just the no. It's not the no brainer thing, but it's what you end up tending to do. Yeah, can you blame the goalies have to protect themselves against Nemeth? Oh yeah, unfortunately, I have a feeling Nemeth is going to be here. No, no, I do know what you mean, Chris T, but no, it's not. I don't think he's going to be here the entire time. I'd be surprised if he makes it through next year. I wouldn't be surprised if the Rangers move him on. You know, I got to revisit this one because I did like Donald Greco when I heard him, and I was been listening to him for 10 years, but I haven't heard him recently. So he's definitely Donald Greco is a great studio opinions guy. So maybe just as a play-by-play guy, he's just not as good. I don't know, but I'm pro Donald Greco. I remember when I used to call up Sports Phone back in '94 to get the scores. Yep. Okay. There we go. You know, it's sort of like all roads lead to Grove Street. All bad paths lead right back to Patrick Demet. Yeah. Let's revisit that play yet again. Let's just go back for a second and let's check out. I want to see if that's Nemeth that actually. Yep, that's Nemeth. And then Zibanejad's trying to get the puck away, bang, back of the net. That's all she wrote. You know, can't blame the refs on that one, boys and girls. Ooh, Romichel, Malik would be an upgrade over Patrick Nemeth at this point, and that's today's Malik. Yeah, yeah. You know what? That's why I don't think it's ridiculous what you guys are saying about going with Jones or Lundqvist. It's just you got to do something, and maybe it's putting somebody else up there with Fox and moving Braun down to play the left side for Schneider. Yes and no. Yes and no. But you're right. I agree with you a lot about that. Truba's here for a while. Yeah, unfortunately, RIP Alexander Karpatsev. Truba's been look. This is where I'll tend to agree with you. Truba has been very good for this team this year, but at moments he's been very frustrating as well. That's why he ends up being on Phil's bad list sometimes. Sometimes Truba will get overly aggressive. Take for instance the Seth Jarvis goal against the Carolina Hurricanes 3 weeks ago, or 4 weeks ago, I should say, where he just went at the guy at the blue line and then that just enabled Jarvis to go in one on a. I almost said 1-0, but you know what I mean. And alone on Igor. He has a no move clause till 2024. Him and Chris Kreider. I feel Drury is going to make. Yeah, well, that's the thing about this. I think if Drury is going to make a splash, it's going to be for another high quality defensive player because he's got a lot of assets, and some of them are just going to collect dust, like Vitaly Kravtsov and possibly Nils Lundqvist. It's got a lot of assets. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Granny, lots of water, bed rest, and as much vitamin C as you could take. As much as I rolled my eyes on hearing about McAvoy, just relax. It'll all be good. Mark Scheifele and D-Man, no way. Drury goes in the next season with his lack of depth on the blue line. Yeah. Well, Hayek is just, as I said over and over again, if Hayek is the answer, what the hell is the question? I would love to see, and I'm pretty sure a lot of Ranger fans and their management would love to see Andrew Kopp come back, Mott, and Vetrano. I think Vetrano was played well on that top line. Certainly can find a spot. Kopp is a priority for two reasons. I would say this, because Kopp could either be the right wing as he currently is, or drop down to the third line. The one team everybody's got to watch out for is the Detroit Red Wings. The Detroit Red Wings are going to make a run at Andrew Kopp. He is a Michigan native, and I think it's going to be quite the battle on where he goes. Now, are they going to be able to pay him a lot more money? Possibly, because the Red Wings don't have, I don't want to use the term cap issues. The Rangers don't have cap issues, but the Red Wings aren't going to have the cap crunch the Rangers have. Yeah. Stib, and by the way, if this is the first time you're on, welcome to the show. That was an absolute just robbery. Another reason why I think Kevin Rooney needs to be back as well. But him taking that and Kopp reading the play, puck bouncing up in the air, and him just waiting patiently to bat it in the net. Oh, that was magic. And again, it shows if you press these Pittsburgh defensemen, especially ones that might be in the Hall of Fame. I know I can't believe I'm saying those words, but Chris Letang might end up in the Hall of Fame. And you just press them. I agree with you. I can't see Drury letting Kopp walk, but we'll see about that. Seaports, if this is your first time on with me, so welcome to the show. So they got to expose Malkin. Yeah, Malkin was in on the game winner last night. Yeah, Zibanejad, he's got a pot one, and I think the goals are going to come. He's got 3 assists in this series, but it's one of those things. I don't want to kill him too bad saying he's playing badly, but he's played a lot better than what the numbers are, but it's still not that good. I'm surprised Dawes didn't try and come back to the NHL. He was in the KHL's leading scorer for a few years in a row. Yeah, but also he's the best Rangers draft pick from that 2003 NHL draft. And that says something in that NHL draft. If you ever want to see me overreact and break down the numbers from that NHL draft, our second video back when we were all things Rangers was the worst draft picks in Rangers history. There is over 3,700 points the Rangers left on the board because they took Hugh Jessamine in the first round. Tied in goals was scored with me. And I didn't play in the NHL. I think the only tough decision is what to do with Ryan Strome and whether or not to trade Filipino. Those are the tough decisions. And Georgiev is going to be gone. There's no way Georgiev stays. Yeah. That is a great point, Leo. And as it was also brought up by our buddy Statboy Steven, that Igor Shesterkin in 2 games took down the Rangers' most saves in his first 2 games. And he blew them away. And also you hear him break it down, and Lundqvist in his triple overtime game, I think he only stopped 21 shots. And Eddie Giacomin, I could have sworn Steven said he stopped 50 shots in his triple overtime game. But then Igor Shesterkin at 79. That's a lot. But Yeah, but hopefully a little bit of rest right there. Yeah. Yeah, that's what whenever anybody reacted to that, it's because Henrik didn't have the glove up. Oh, that is a bit of news. Let's check that out. And the Bruins have a 3-2 lead over the Carolina Hurricanes. So hopefully somebody is correct in their prediction. Our Carolina Hurricanes writer Pete Mackin might not be happy with it today. I did have Boston in 6 going into this series, but we will see about that. That's the other thing that concerns me about both those guys. They are both smallish D-men, even though the league has kind of gravitated towards smaller players over the last 10, 15 years. Although I still marvel, one of the best players I ever played with, he would be in the NHL right now. I think Brodzinski would be a good change of pace. Thomas, that's not a bad decision. Okay, so Bruins score. That I did not know. Dave Maloney doesn't count anything. Casper minus. We had Darius Kasparaitis on the show. By the way, David, one of our friends, saw him at the alumni game, and Darius Kasparaitis remembered being on the show. So I can't wait till we start getting guests again. But again, we're trying to get more people, more time for all of us to be together. Our schedules have not been kind, to say the least, but we're going to get plenty more time. Nemeth, yeah, I got to start skipping over the Nemeth things because I think we covered Nemeth a little bit too much. I think Jacob Chikrin is not the way to go. I will say this yet again, because if Adam Fox is your power play quarterback, you're basically taking Jacob Chikrin, paying a premium for him, and then going to power play too. And those 17 goals that he had last year, or I think it was 17, they're not going to be there when he's not getting power play one time. So if there's no move to, yeah, I don't think Patrick Nemeth, they can buy him out. I believe in his CBA, they have to have him in there. Like, or they could just release him and just pay him, but you're still stuck with the money on the salary cap. Somebody will take Patrick Nemeth. There's always a way of everybody just relax about whether or not Patrick Nemeth is stuck here. I know Ranger fans just had Brendan Smith on the team for all 4 years, and part of that's credit to Brendan Smith because he was really a negative and he turned himself into kind of a net neutral, I guess I would say. And I don't want to go so far to say positive, but on the other hand, there's Andrew Ladd was traded, and the Islanders didn't play him a single game to the Arizona Coyotes. There are teams that are willing to take on contracts. Don't be surprised if like the Ottawa Senators or somebody get up. I'm gonna just stop that right there. Nope. Nazem Kadri, and he's gonna prove it yet again. He's gonna prove it yet again. He's gonna take a bad hit, and he's gonna give out a bad hit and be suspended the rest of the playoffs. He ended his last 2 seasons with Colorado and the season before with Toronto all on suspensions. Wait for it. It's coming. Well, that's true. And as much as I love Nils Lundqvist and I was loving everything on his scouting report, it's just also the way the game is played now. Let's just go right back to some of the numbers from last night. I'm going to go into the game center for a second because it used to be, you have your number one power play in and out for a about like a minute, and then you send out the number 2 unit. By the way, the Penguins got 2 power play goals from their number 2 unit. Okay. Anybody, how long do you think Alexei Lafreniere had on the number 2 unit for power play time? And I'll make that one easy. 47 seconds. How long do you think Artemi Panarin had? 5 minutes and 37 seconds. The power play 2 is next to non-existent for the New York Rangers. That's why you don't need depth on that. You just need to build up your number 1 power play unit. And that's why you don't get so many points for Kaapo Kakko and Alexei Lafreniere. As I've said before, reports, the number 1 thing I have to say for that is the only Hayek I want to see is Selma. And by the way, who wouldn't? Wait, Izzy, that's right. They got 4.5 million. I thought they don't have 4.5. I thought it's all off. But we'll look that up in a minute. Yes, once those ELCs expire, that's the one good thing. Those ELCs are still all small potatoes. They're you can't imagine them getting Austin Matthews money right now. David says Rangers will also have the first week of free agency to re-sign Cobb if he wants to come back and offer him. Well, yes, and that's true. I think this playoff run is going to show Andrew Cobb this is where he belongs. Oh, Squirts. All right, sports with a C. So it's sports. See, I'm Mark with a C, by the way, so I understand your pain. But I'm just gonna go with CP for right now. I gotta look you up then. So see what that is. Be right, by the way, welcome to the show. And I know, but I think Schneider's look better. Now, by the way, there's no reason why you can't keep them both. That's for sure. And that's another thing. Then you have, if you don't trade Nils Lundqvist, you then can have an excuse, use him for the power play 2 time where he scored his only goal of the year. And that was a rocket. Dawes was better than Jessamine? You really think? By the way, everybody, once again, like, share, subscribe. Thank you all very much. Yeah, happy Mother's Day to all. I have to go and also, by the way, the baddest mother, Shaft. I also have to call my mom soon enough. We're gonna go another 15 minutes. But yeah, it's just Nemeth. Oh my God, he's killing me as much as you guys. He's also killing me because we could entitle this just Patrick Nemeth show. 4-2 Bruins. Let's see how much time is remaining in that game. 11:22 remaining. 4-2 Bruins. And the only series that's not surprising me at all is Colorado Nashville, because Colorado, that's a long way to go for Nashville to do it all without UC Saros, who is also, I guess, Everest. There would be your alternate Vezina Trophy winner, if you want to say that. So I 100% agree with that. You might not find a bigger Tyler Mott fan. I can't believe I'm even saying those words. When he showed up with the Rangers, he fit right in. And yes, we all would love to have Sammy Blais. Ryan Reeves, Sammy Blais. I can't say it's the most embarrassing when they had that second period comeback. Oh wait, Nemitz got eliminated, no trade. Why would you give? Oh, that's right. That's right. Phil mentioned that when they signed him. Oh my God. All right, but I'm gonna look up what the provisions in the limited no trade clause is. Someone took Strome. Rick, I'm gonna go with the short answer. No. They're gonna obviously they should put back Igor. Igor's a superior goalie, and look, I understand they have two goalies on the roster for a reason, but no, you go with Igor. You won game 2 because of Igor. You went the triple overtime in game 1 because of Igor. He's allowed to have a bad game. And always felt Brendan Dillon would be. Yes, Brendan Dillon is actually a good pair. A good third pairing defenseman. How do you feel about Guan's decisions in the series? No. That's a good decision. And the reason why is I outlined that in the beginning when I was doing just my notes. I know it's not as catchy as the good, bad, and the ugly, but still. You have to do that. It's more like a kick in the ass to the rest of the team, more than it's a kick in the ass to Igor. Now that you know, all right, you just got your starting goalie kicked out. Pick it up, boys. And then they did. The Rangers were far more aggressive in the second period. All right. B-Roy, I gotta be honest with you. Yeah, you're right. The Rangers been getting outplayed in the series, and they were dominant against Pittsburgh in the regular season. So in the last 3 games, not really so much in that 1-0 game where Malkin had the only game-winning goal. How about moving Kaapo up with Panarin? I don't know how much I want to move around lines right now. Kaapo has been amazing, but the issue is that I feel that line has the same. Yeah, but unfortunately, Kaapo's played really too well with Panarin. That's the only reason why. CP, all right, now I got it right. All right, at least I didn't call you Justin, as everyone would say. No, but I do think, look, if you're going to make a move like that, I move Andrew Copp to the third line center. That's just what I would do. Then when you lengthen all 3 lines. The hard part about it is doing it when you're down 2-1 in the series. Nill's a way different defenseman than Schneider. But again, they're both on ELCs. Don't have to worry about that. The only way Nill should be traded if he's traded for a package that gets you a bona fide star and another core piece. Here's the reason why I'm worried about another bona fide star. Because then again, what are you doing with Kakko and Lafreniere? They can't be on the third line forever, guys. We can't say, why aren't these guys developing? Go play 12 minutes a game. Because you know who thinks like that one? The USA coach. Fourth line needs a shakeup. Radzinski, Rooney, and Hunt. I think fourth line needs a shakeup, and it's going to be Ryan Reeves getting in there. And I'm surprised the Rangers were able to make that comeback without Ryan Reeves in the lineup, just to give them a nice little kick in the ass. There it is. Nemeth has an 8-team no trade list. I believe that list has to be submitted at before the NHL draft every single year. That's typically when they do that. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's all 8 Canadian teams. As I'm doing the count in my head. Did I miss one? Pops Freshenmeyer. Always good seeing you. Yep, dumb penalties. No, Everest, I think they were outplayed. Overall in the series, if you look at it like a fight card, Rangers won the first period in game 1. They lost the second period, game 2, sort of even game 3. Overtime ended up going to the Penguins. Game 2, I mean, kind of even game 1. Rangers won game 2, period 2. And then they still got a little bit more in game 3. But yes, overall. Kravtsov and Braun in a game 4 pairing. That's like when your men's league is so desperate, we're like, all right, we're gonna put our best player on defense so he gets more time. I'm really getting a message from you today on Justin Braun. But yeah, so we're gonna go to 3:15. That's 8 more minutes. and keep on taking some more comments. You know what, though? I'd love to know what the surprise move is for the Rangers in this game. But again, think about how different this series would be if they just let that goal stand. For starters, Casey DeSmith is still in net. There you go, Penguins. Was it really worth turning over that goal? So there's that. There's and again, just throwing that on there, and when every single penalty, the stream of penalties, whether you want to say fair or not, that you're talking about that the home team in game one drew 1 power play and the away team drew 4. That is ridiculous. If you want to say it was 3-2, fine. If you want to say it was 2-1, fine. 4-1? And then it ended up being 6-1 by the time the Rangers got their first power play in game 2. But the only way to say that one, Matador, is that the other guy gets paid too. Mike Sullivan's got 2 Stanley Cups and is a very good coach. Now, did the Penguins make adjustments? Yeah, they made adjustments in the third, but that game should have gone to overtime again last night. Yep. And then that's a big factor in this series. That puck is batted out of midair, and the Rangers don't get a power play out of it. Now, here's the thing. I've said before, the Rangers got 2 shorthanded goals in the series and 2 power play goals. That's just, would they have scored on it? Maybe, maybe not. But they certainly would have had the opportunity. I mean, it can't always be, well, the power play doesn't work. Well, tell that to Brad Richards in 2012. So, yes, you're right about that. And yes, David, just exactly what Daryl Sutter was saying. A lot of these penalties are things you have to look on the replay to go find. But again, when you get the delay of game penalties, it's just, if there's a questionable thing, it goes the Penguins' way. I'd love to see it go the Rangers' way. What I do love is that the goal review yesterday was exactly the reason why there wasn't a goal review on the Andrew Kopp goal, because they already did it in the first period. They cite that rule. And Chris Letang, what are you doing, pulling the net off the moorings? That's just, and don't give me, oh, that was heads up. No, it wasn't. Yeah. Penguins. Vetrano might go. I do agree with that, but Kopp and Mott, they're going to find a way. If out of those 3, I'd prioritize them just like that. Actually, you know what? But the thing is, you don't have to pay Mott that much. You don't have to. And I got to see what he's making right now. But Drury's going to want to really shake up the bottom 6 again. So, and yes, Crosby had, wait, there it is. 2 clear holding calls. All right, so there you are, Matador. So that's where it's what Grecker has the. I tell you what, if you ever want to hear somebody that's just awful, and we talked about him last year, is the Tampa Bay radio announcer. You're leaving 80-year-old Phil Esposito to explain plays, because I just can't stand how often it'll be. And then the puck comes over to center. Boy. You're like, oh, just describe the play for me. Oh, it's just, I have to look what he's making right now. I don't think he's going to make that much. Yeah, Fox has not been himself a lot lately. He does have 3 assists in this series though. So Rooney is going to be a UFA if I recall correctly. Well, that's just the thing. You're going to have to make your decisions, and guys are going to have to ask the questions if they want to be here. But always, everybody wants a raise. We all want it in our jobs. It happens all the time. I just love that I'm catching the flack from the Penguins fans. Some of your arguments, they're not the right arguments at the moment. Like, oh, what were the Rangers robbed in Game 3? Well, the Penguins robbed our goalie tandem because of expansion. You already knew this. Everybody knew this, and trust me, they couldn't get rid of Marc-Andre Fleury fast enough. So, ooh, okay. There's a controversial take right here, and the Bobby Orr diving goal is the most overrated, overhyped play in NHL history. Yes. He scored it and then got tripped, and he was celebrating in midair. It's the celebration. That's what everybody remembers. It's called the goal in Boston, but it was in a sweep, if I recall correctly, too. So it won the Stanley Cup. That's what made it so great. Brian, by the way, if this is your first time on the show, thank you very much. Yeah, Lindgren is a very tradable asset. I don't want to get rid of him, but that's what the question is that the Rangers are going to have to face. Because him and Fox played well up until March. And again, I'm going to say it again. I think he's playing injured. I think Petrano will not be back. And Sammy B. Sammy B has got an interesting question to say. I believe he's an RFA, and he still has to figure out whether or not he's going to take a prove-it contract. That's what's going to be interesting about him. It's not Pavel Buchnevich who was going to get paid big money, and there was going to be issues possibly re-signing him in the future. All right, guys, it is 3:15 right now. I have to go call my mom for Mother's Day. She's done a great job. She has to put up with me, so that's for one thing. And we have Game 4 to watch for the Rangers and the Penguins tomorrow night. Hopefully a good outcome. And you know what? This Ranger team already has come back from 3-1 deficit against Pittsburgh Penguins. They did it with physical play, strong goaltending, and yes, they were inspired by Marty St. Louis, who, by the way, scored on Mother's Day, one of the most emotional goals I think I've ever seen, and one of the greatest plays ever. Yeah. See, Richie, you're right on that one. Why would you let Vetrano go? I wouldn't. That's the answer. But it comes down to all this. It's just numbers. I can tell you Monday night I won't have a post game show. I'm gonna have to do it on Tuesday afternoon because I'm working Monday night up until late. Chris G, by the way, thank you very much for stopping by the bar because that's always a great thing. And we're gonna have viewing parties and stuff like that whenever we have a chance to do that. I have an Adam Graves signed jersey that I will be looking to do a pool for eventually and get rid of that. Guys, again, Everest, thank you very much. Great show. It's always great whenever I hear great show and we're just discussing and sometimes debating. And by the way, yeah, Richie, the only reason why it was the salary cap, as what AV is saying, it is going to go up. Yeah, and that's why I think Ryan Reeves is going to be back in the play. B-Rye, who can't? Just want to answer that question before I go. I want to either I cannot see how Drury can resign everyone unless. Oh, that's why. Okay, I got you. Well, every team would love to have a Scott Stevens. CP. Thank you. I needed that comeback, especially from the drunk show that I did. Again, don't be surprised. Ryan Strome maybe not being on the books is going to be part of it because there you got $5 million freed up right there. And yeah, and it's the officiating. Here's the thing. And again, like I said before, the penalties the Rangers took in the first period were penalties. I can't argue with that. Those were what led to the power play goals. But the thing is, you just can't have it go all the way Penguins, all the way Rangers. Because then, let's say, for instance, they do it in the next game. All the Rangers get are power plays in the first period. The Rangers go up 4-0. Yay, Ranger fans might want to go. But then Pittsburgh's fans are going to look over and go, what, they calling everything one way? That's not fair to them either. You have to have fairness. That's why officials are officials. You're not supposed to be impartial. Or sorry, you're supposed to be impartial. 4 minutes left. Carolina coming hard. Phrasing. And let's see. I got 3:25 remaining. Carolina over Boston. All right. So again, guys, we're going to sign off here. Everybody, call your mothers and enjoy Mother's Day. I'll be working tonight and tomorrow nights. So feel free to come on down to Boss Croakers, have a beer. This is just this. I mean, last night hurt a lot, and I did joke around and say people think I had Tourette's. The amount of times I walked past the just doing anything and just would scream, "Fuck!" But like we're passionate, we're fans. We're trying to be pundits, but I'm also a fan, and we're going to be continuing the Stanley Cup playoffs in the NHL all throughout the rest of the year. So don't worry about that, regardless of what the Rangers are doing. Because hell, they weren't in the playoffs last year. We covered the entire Islander series, and then we had to change the name of our channel. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. So definitely join me on Tuesday. Hopefully, I'll have a couple little shorts and notes to put in for tomorrow before the game. But what's my prediction for the series? Well, unfortunately, Everest, my prediction's wrong already. I said Rangers in 5. I said I didn't see a way the Penguins were going to be able to crack Igor Shesterkin and the Rangers defense, which was limiting them in scoring chances. They were the best in the league in scoring chances after the trade deadline. And the Penguins, they've been doing pretty well. But that's also why Mike Sullivan gets paid. That's why everything else happens. I'm still going to go Rangers. I'm going to go Rangers in 6 still, because I still like the way they played. It's all these games are coming down to bounces. I mean, as they said, 5-2. Oh, again, it could be the Penguins in 6. I'm not sure if it's going 7. I really don't. I don't think it's going 7. But B-Roy, I like those lines. Well, the thing is, I think you would have Goudreau as the center on that line, or even that's interesting. I'll just say it like that. Because that third line looks more like a fourth line. I think you need a better center for that fourth line, and that's where I think they're going to have to go get. What they need is a center that can win faceoffs. 41% last night, not good. And Richie, I'm sorry, I gotta disagree with you on this one. Georgiev should not be starting Game 4 and should not have started Game 3. You're living and dying with Shesterkin. Shesterkin is the guy. Never going to be Georgiev. No. It's Georgiev is like being in the friend zone. He's I don't know if Reeves is still on the team next year, but I think they would like to have him back, and I know Gallant loves him. So, all right, third time I'm going to be signing off. You guys love to draw me back in. All right, guys, thank you very much. Have a great night. Call your mothers, and let's go Rangers in Game 4. Yes, I think he will still be. I'm not blaming Iggy. He had one bad game. Let's see how he responds. Henrik Lundqvist was always, he had a sub 2 goals against after getting pulled, or even worse. One of the worst games he ever played in the playoffs. You guys are doing it to me again. One of the worst games Henrik Lundqvist ever played in the playoffs was Game 5 versus Montreal. One of the best games he ever played in the playoffs was Game 6 versus Montreal that got it Stanley Cup Finals. All right, no, I know me, but still. All right. Everybody, thank you very much. We're going to be cutting it there.